Trying to like
I also I know they did it was so
whoever's speaking. Whoever's starting. You tell me when it's starting. I'm very interested. Should I lead in the singing? Should I lead the singing or should I just let them sing? Let's the choir. Let's the choir. Okay. Go with it? All right. This is my microphone.
Test one, test one. Hello, my name is Larry Griffin. I'm the artistic director and founder of Capriccio Columbus, and I would like for you all to stand and join me and lift every voice and sing, please. Every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let us march on round us the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the victim and dark as sing a song full of the
Good morning, and welcome to the annual community celebration in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Today, we come together under the powerful theme, Mission Possible. Dr. King believed that through collective action, courage, and love, we could overcome injustice and create a better world. His message of hope and determination shows us that challenges we face are not insurmountable, and that with unity and nonviolence, every mission is possible. As we gather to reflect on his legacy, let us be inspired to carry forward his vision of equality, peace, and justice. Together, we can continue to work toward a world where freedom, opportunity, and dignity are available to all. Thank you for being here today and for being part of this important mission. Together, we make the impossible possible.
I invite you to bow your heads and pray with us. God of our weary years and God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far on the way, we come before you on this day honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. We thank you for his steadfast dedication, transformational ministry, and his work. We thank you for the progress that has been made and all those nameless persons who have sacrificed their lives to make this country and this world a better place. Although the dream is not yet realized, inequality and injustice continue to permeate our country and this world. Yet we, as your children, thank you for the hope that you have instilled in us through our faith. Hope that all individuals will be treated with love and compassion. Hope that no one will be hungry and have a home to live in. Hope that all will have access to medical care. Hope that the senseless violence will stop being our new normal. Hope that all will feel safe. Hope that our children will be allowed to be children. Hope that our elders will have the support that they need in their last years. Hope that we will all have compassion for the tragedies all over this country and this world. We have this hope knowing that hope is an action word. Lord, let us realize that we are the miracles that our community needs. We are the miracles that this country needs. We are the miracles that the world needs. Strengthen us to do your will and to reflect your love in all the places you have called us to be. In the sweet and precious name of Jesus, amen.
Hello, friends, families, and community members. My name is Toya Spencer, or you can call me Miss Toya, as do my friends in Worthington schools. I have the honor of serving as the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for our school district. One of the many reasons that I find joy in the work that I lead is having the opportunity to talk with students to understand how they see the world. As we celebrate and reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., I am reminded of his dream, that his children would one day live in a nation where they would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Much like Dr. King, we in Worthington schools believe in and are guided by our mission of empowering a community of learners who will change the world. Our Portrait of a Learner profile provides a roadmap to developing the qualities that will help them to do so. As such, we want our elementary students to be a leader, thinker, and friend. A leader celebrates the success of others, takes action to make things better, and models good choices. A friend is kind and inclusive, takes care of themselves and others, and listens to understand. And a thinker is curious, learns from their mistakes, and shares their ideas and asks questions. When we examine Dr. King's actions and words, we can see how they encourage us to be good leaders, good friends, and to think about how we can make our world a better place. I've invited a few of my fifth grader friends to talk with me about how they apply Dr. King's values to their own lives and how they are taking daily steps towards being a better leader, thinker, and friend.
Why do you think Dr. King believed that love was stronger than hate?
Hate makes things fall apart, and hate can also make things worse.
It makes it worse. In what way do you think it makes it worse?
It makes it worse because, it could make people upset or even more worried.
How do you think Dr. King showed love as a leader?
He still loved his enemies.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
When people were treating him like badly and stuff, he still loved them.
He still loved them. You think that's a hard thing to do or easy thing to do?
A hard thing.
Very hard. So we're going to talk a little bit about Dr. King and when he marched on Washington. He led that march on Washington to help people be treated fairly. Can you think of a way that you could be a leader at school or at home? What could you do to be a leader?
Like you could be a role model for little kids. And like they can like learn from you to be like a good kid and like listening to the teachers and stuff.
Yes, so I'm hearing you say, Josiah, that we could be thinking about our own actions and how our actions can be an example to younger students in your building. And I like that you're thinking that way, that you want to be an example and model good choices, which is one of our actions as elementary students in Worthington, so that we can be good examples to other people. What do you think, Anaya?
You should think about how your actions affect other people and how you can be respectful, how you can be kind, and how you can deal things without hate.
I love it. I think that is so on point. Both of you are giving amazing responses to those answers and really showing me that you're already doing these things as a great leader. So thank you for sharing that.
A good leader is someone who can give up things for other people, and a good leader is someone who can deal with things respectfully.
Wow. Is kindness important when you think of someone as a good leader?
Yes.
Tell me why you think kindness is important.
Even when like people were like throwing stuff at him, like as you said, like he still loved them and like was nice to them.
So his kindness was able to allow him to look past those things. Yeah. What about you, Anaya? Kindness. Why is kindness important in being a leader?
Being kind is important because if you're like mean, then other people might be scared of you. Other people might not want to listen to you.
Yeah. Is there one final thing that you want us all to remember as we conclude our time together?
You can show leadership by giving up things for others, being kind, being respectful, and dealing with things without hate.
Anaya, I think you said it perfectly. It has been a pleasure to meet you, and I have no doubt that with young people like you, we are going to have a world that is going to be a better place. Doing the right thing shouldn't wait. So when he said the time is always right to do what is right, what do you think he believed, or why he believed it was important to stand up for what is right even though it's hard?
I think that even no matter what your skin color is, you should have choices just like everybody else to make everything fair.
I think because it might be like sad for other people if they are not like included, even though like Mila said, different skin colors.
Yeah.
They could still be like really kind and fun to play with.
Absolutely. When you are looking at people and looking at their heart and looking at their character and whether or not they are kind to one another, whether or not they're respectful to each other, at the end of the day, I don't think that really matters, right? What somebody's skin color is or the background that they're from, I look at people's hearts.
Yeah, I like to look at their character and how they treat people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I'm curious, if you saw something unfair happening, how would you think about the best way to help?
The best way to help is like to ask everybody like how they're feeling, and then like brainstorm an idea like how to make it right. Like maybe you could, if this person has this opinion and this person has this opinion, then maybe you could come up with an opinion that takes both of their ideas together and makes it one big, huge collaboration.
Oh, I was just getting ready to say that word, Mila. What's a problem that you would like to solve?
Pollution and littering, because it could really hurt people and animals. Like if you pollute on the beach and put like a water bottle, plastic, and when the turtles are laying their eggs, they're gonna think, or they're just gonna like maybe run into it or like try eating it, and they might die, and the population will go down of sea turtles because they won't have their babies.
It is a honorable interest that you have, right? Like that you really, as a fifth grader, as a young person, are really thinking about those sorts of things. I just want to say, I really appreciate you both taking the time to spend some time talking to me about Dr. King and your ideas about him. I am so confident in the future because I think our world is going to be in a much better place with people like Mason and people like Mila leading us, because you all are impressing me with your responses and your thoughtfulness and your ability to really know and understand what is most important. Why do you think he thought it was important to make friends with people from different backgrounds?
He like did that just to show that every like religion and no matter what color you are, you can all hang out.
We can all hang out.
Because it could show that all colors can be friends with someone else that has a different color, and you guys can like tell each other about yourself. And difficult to explain, but like it's like they like become friends and they're like different ways.
What I'm hearing you say is that you can be friends with somebody who is different, has a different background, and that provides an opportunity for you to learn from someone. And sometimes I think people think, I am so different from somebody else that we couldn't possibly have anything in common. But when you do become friends with that person, you recognize your differences aren't so big.
Some good friends don't have a lot in common, and also when you're different, you get to know about new stuff that you've never done.
What are some ways you can be a good friend to someone who might feel left out?
Go up to them, like see if they like want to play with me, or like if they feel comfortable around like hanging out with me, to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, going up, hey, you want to play with us? You want to hang out with my group?
We like sometimes like spin around.
Okay, and so inviting people to come into that and to not be by themselves, but to invite them in with a group and to be friends with everybody that's in your group. Gavin, what are you thinking?
When you invite someone over just to hang out, if they're like lonely, it can help out with like if they have struggles going on.
Isn't that true? Sometimes we might be struggling with something and we might not tell anybody, but when somebody says to you, hey, come on, hang out with me, that just kind of helps your struggles go away. Why do you think Dr. King said we should live together as brothers and sisters? Gavin?
Because we all like share things in common, and we all can find a way to hang out with everyone.
You can meet someone from a different race, and they can also like tell themselves, and like you can learn new things about them.
I think you all have so much insight and so much wisdom. I have learned so much from you both today in this conversation about the importance of being friends. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with me and your ideas. It was a pleasure to meet you both. I have no doubt that with you all being students and being our future, our world is going to be in a great place.
So good morning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our video. My name is Toya Spencer, or Miss Toya, as my friends call me. I am thrilled to have the opportunity to publicly recognize our students that are present with us today who were in the video. So I see Mason with me. Mason, can you stand for me, sweetie pie? Yay! Mason's family is also here with him. I won't make y'all stand, but his family is here with him. I appreciate you all raising such a fine young man. Do I have any of my other students that were in the video present with me today? Is Anaya here? Hi, Anaya. Let's give her a hand. Is Josiah present? Okay, all right, well, that's Josiah's mom, right? Awesome. Thank you for being here. As you can see, it is my absolute joy to serve as the Director of Diversity for the school district. I have the privilege of talking with students all the time, and that actually just brings so much joy to what it is that I do. And I said it several times in the video, but you know, I believe our future is in really, really good hands with those students that we have in Worthington. So thank you so much.
Even with the box, I'm so short. Wait, okay, there. Hello, good morning. Good morning. My name is Chelsea Daniel Eads, and I am lead conductor of Urban Strings Columbus. You have some in our ensemble appearing before you today. We are so honored to be a part of your celebrations of Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and legacy. Today, we are going to be performing 2 selections. The first one will be from our Jubilation Pack. You're going to hear pieces such as We Shall Overcome, This Little Light of Mine, and I Shall Not Be Moved, followed by the South African freedom song, Siyahamba. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Starks, and I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker for the day, Ms. Dana Tyler. The committee thought that Dana would be a perfect speaker for this year's program. Childhood Worthington resident, 1977 grad from Thomas Worthington High School, beloved WBNS TV 10 anchor. Dana recalls when she was in elementary school that she was a news junkie. And when she was in high school, she was able to be an intern at WCOL Radio in Columbus. During her years at Boston University, she was able to be an intern at WBNS 10 TV, and then she was hired by Channel 10 as a reporter in 1981. Some of Dana's notable accomplishments have been, in 1990, serving as one half of the first African-American anchor team with her co-anchor Reggie Harris in the nation's #1 media market. Dana also reported on the September 11th terrorist attacks, the inauguration of President Barack Obama, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the COVID pandemic. Dana has received many awards as well for her work. They include, in 2012, receiving the New York Emmy Award for Community Service as the host of the Tunnel to Towers Memorial Run. She also received the Emmy for anchoring the breaking news story, Flight 1549 lands in the Hudson River. In 2003, Dana was honored with the Doctor of Letters degree from St. John's University and received a 2000 Alumna Award for Distinguished Service from Boston University. We know Dana's resume is lengthy, but I do have a personal story that I would like to share. It was August of 1997. We were celebrating our 20th high school reunion at the Worthington Hills Country Club when we received the news that Princess Diana had been in a fatal car accident. We were all in shock and disbelief. Dana immediately went into journalistic mode and called her station in New York, trying to get more information about what had happened. She was able to confirm with us that what we had heard was true. Many other reporters might have thought, well, I'm at my reunion, I can find out about this later, but this shows the commitment that Dana has to her profession. She always wants to get the story right, and she wanted us to know what was happening. That's part of the reason why in 2007, Dana was honored as a distinguished alumna of the Worthington Schools for her contribution to her profession. Dana's career has spanned over 40 years and has made an impact on the local and national level. I am pleased at this time, and would you put your hands together for our speaker of the day, my classmate and good friend, Dana Tyler.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to be here. It's sort of a this is your life thing, and this is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s day in his life. And I feel deeply, I'm here as all of us in some way or another because of him. I just want to set my clock timer so I don't go on forever up here. So just 1 second. Okay. I should have done this before. I want to thank Kathy Starks. Kathy, my childhood friend, we had brunch with a couple other friends from Worthington yesterday. Ann Brown with the city of Worthington, my grown-up working friend for my TV life at Channel 10, and city of Worthington and everybody who's here, I thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored, and of course, whenever I live in Connecticut. I've lived in the New York area for the past 34 years, but I do come back here often for our reunions. Lots of close friends. It just makes me feel so, so, so good. And every place has a memory, every single place, including this church. And I grew up about 3 blocks away from here, and I can remember having Girl Scout cadet meetings I want to say is my mind says they were over there somewhere in some part of the church that maybe had a stage or dark curtains or something. And I can remember being in there, and honest to goodness, I feel like we played hide and seek a lot more than we were making our badges. But I just loved being there. And because I felt the welcome arms of just every place in the city. The sanctuary, I believe this is new since the early 70s, but my two favorite teachers got married here at this church. Gary Moore, my gym teacher at Worthington Hills, who also took a group of kids, including my sister and me, to Alum Creek and taught us how to water ski. And Kathy Hamilton, my English teacher at Worthing Way, who, gosh, language, voice, communication, being able to convey our thoughts. We had thought sheets. Don't be afraid to write down what's inside. And also grammar. She made me a grammar nerd to this day. At my place, when I was working at CBS, I retired in March, and somebody would say across the newsroom, Dana, come over here, is it who or whom? And so I always think of Kathy Moore with that, and I will say my sister and I both still water ski. We loved growing up here in Worthington, loved it. Our neighborhood, Colonial Hills Elementary School, Worthing Way, Kilbourne. Kilbourne is still called Kilbourne here? Okay, Kilbourne, yes. And you know what I loved about that was they took the children, the 8th graders from Worthing Way and the 8th graders from Perry, and we all went to Kilbourne and we got to know each other. And then we did 10, 11, 12 at Worthington at Worthington High School, which I drove by today with great trepidation because I've heard construction. I'm like, please, please, that's a shrine, that place. I loved. And I know it continues to be a wonderful place for education. But education, curricular activities, extra ones, lifelong friendships. Andra, I don't see you from right now, but a friend of mine came up from elementary school. We used to do brownies and Girl Scout things at her house on Hartford Street. And Kathy and just so many of my friends. I got a text with a group of us who wished me good luck this morning, and I appreciate that. And to me, that's about Worthington. It's about Worthington. And I have to say that I might not have been here, standing here, because my parents had a really difficult time buying a house in Worthington. In 1960, they lived in an attic apartment on the Near East Side of Columbus. Black businesses, black homeowners, this is right around East High School, top floor apartment, a couple blocks away from Tyler Drug Store. So this is part of my family history. Tyler Drug, my grandfather started Tyler Drugs, and then my father carried on these drug stores after my grandfather died. So here's my dad, Muskingum College, then Ohio State College of Pharmacy, business owner. My mother, Ohio State University, working as a medical technologist. They have the money, the required down payment to buy a house. My dad went to several banks in Columbus applying for a mortgage. He was denied every time. I was talking with my mother just the other day about this. Redlining, she said, keeping white neighborhoods white and separate from black neighborhoods, keeping black neighborhoods together. And along with that in Columbus public schools were segregated. In fact, for quite many years after that. My mother says we were denied a mortgage because we were black. And there were already black families living here in Worthington who told my parents, good schools, good people, we have a community here. So my parents did not give up. My dad finally got the mortgage. He had to go to Sunbury to finally get a bank that would give him the mortgage. And they bought their little ranch house in Worthington on an integrated street across from St. John's African Methodist Episcopal Church. So I loved where we grew up, and we could walk to school. It was just fantastic. And I will say, just to get you there, in what Worthington gave me, and I wouldn't have been here, I had to bring you these and show you. This is Minutes Student Council Secretary, Friday, November 16th, 1973, cast your vote for Dana Tyler. I was running for secretary in the 9th grade, and you know, you get confidence. I was given confidence by my parents, by my friends, by my teachers, and that I felt I was at home. I was at home. Yes, I'm Black, it's predominantly white, but we're all people, and we all want to get a good education. And here's the other one of these, which is, okay, so determined, active, nifty, assuring, trustworthy, yeoman, loyal, efficient, responsible for secretary, Dana Tyler. I had no idea what yeoman meant. I could not find a why. I said, I think that has something to do with the Navy or something. But if you keep going down in the definition, it tells you it's a good adjective talking about hard work. Dr. Martin Luther King's lectures and nonviolent protests calling for equality and civil rights, and we're going back in now the late 50s, early 60s, calling for an end to racial segregation, an end to the Jim Crow laws. They'd been gaining their momentum, and he inspired countless people. Among them, let me get back to my father and my mother. My dad and some friends, like-minded friends, Black and white, working really hard in Columbus to, evoke change, get people passionate, and not afraid to work towards something to make Ohio, to make Columbus a better place for all of us. They knew a lot of work had to be done, including the work to abolish segregation in Columbus public schools. In August 1963, my dad and his friends took a bus ride from Columbus to the nation's capital, part of the 250,000 people at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, hearing Dr. Martin Luther King and other speakers in that incredible historic day. Dr. King sang so much, as we know, but I was touched by this, quote, "There is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred." And that message, thinking about that, it's let us be us. Let us not go to the extremes of course, violence or whatever we think in a minute might work, but might not have a long-standing effect. Right now, I'm listening to a book, a 2023 book. It's called King, A Life, written by Jonathan Eig. Highly acclaimed, comprehensive work, first biography on Dr. King in about 40 years. The author had access, what makes this different, he had access to thousands of FBI papers on reports into Dr. King, also thousands of access to personal letters, and recently, and just documents that from people who knew Dr. King. So this book won a Pulitzer Prize last year, the author. And he says, yes, this is the author speaking. We have a monument, we have a holiday. He said, there are even greeting cards. I have to say, a couple years ago where I live, in a place I played tennis, and I walked in and it said, Happy Martin Luther King Day, 30% off on outfits. And I almost cried, and I also walked back in and I said to the manager, I said, this is wrong. He was assassinated. He was working for all of us to make this entire country a better world, to make the world better for Black people, Negroes, colored people, the underserved. And she kind of had that sort of blank stare and said, okay, and okay, this is modern times. I get the sales for Washington, and of course, Abraham Lincoln, who was assassinated. But that was a real moment. I felt I had to say something. And I'm so glad that I did say something. The author says, we have de-radicalized, we have defanged Dr. King. We have whitewashed his message. We have forgotten that he was a human being. He was a radical. He was a man of faith. We've forgotten he had fears. He had failures. And in doing so, we really stripped away his power to speak to us today. Today, the author, Jonathan Eig, says, his words might help us make our way through these troubled times, but only if we actually read them, only if we embrace the complicated king, the flawed king, the human king, the radical king, and only if we see and hear him clearly again as America saw and heard him once more. I find that very motivating, and however, I find this day a reset in a way, especially after this past year and all that's going on in our world. And that motivated me to listen to this book. Like, what can I do now? How do I hear his messages now? We have witnessed great accomplishments because of Dr. King. Great motivation, great kids like Mason and Mila and what they did on this video here, and the Urban Strings, all of you and your confidence and things like that weren't around when we were around, were they, Kathy? I mean, it doesn't mean we didn't do a lot of stuff, but it's just such an honor to see you all there. And I feel fine saying that was in part because of Dr. King. My uncle, David Harris, another person who was inspired by Dr. King and the Tuskegee Airmen. He grew up on the hilltop, went to the Progressive University School on the OSU campus. He went to school with my father, Kathy Stark's mother. I mean, this is like, we're all like this. My Uncle David went to Ohio State. He played soccer. He joined the ROTC, served in the Air Force, flying B-57s, B-52s in preparation, not in combat. He faced discrimination in military housing. He faced rejection. He kept going because of the inspirations of those before him and during his time. He wanted to fly big planes for airlines. He applied to several airlines. He was either ignored or rejected. And then he wrote to American Airlines and applied for a job. And he said he just put it there. I am a Negro, I am married, I have 2 daughters. He said the chief pilot of American, the interviewer, we don't care if you're black, white, or chartreuse. We only want to know, can you fly the plane? And so my uncle became the first in 1964 black pilot for a commercial airline in the United States. And he died in March, sadly. Isn't that great? Buckeye. His last flight in the left seat, flying an MD-11 round trip, Miami, Buenos Aires, and a trailblazer who passed away in March. Another inspiration, I think, is we need to go forward and we need to go back. I was at the Ohio History Center on Saturday, and have you guys been there? I mean, really been there in that research room. It's very quiet. There's such a wealth of information and hardworking people there. My great-grandfather, Ralph Waldo Tyler, I said this on my resume, bio rather, that I would have loved to have interviewed him. At age 58, he was named by the U.S. Committee on Public Information as the first black correspondent to report on blacks serving in World War I during France. Before that, okay, that's 1918. He was a journalist. He wrote Negro newspapers, one called the African American here in Columbus that struggled to keep afloat. In 1888, he was hired by the Columbus Evening Dispatch as a janitor, but he learned how to be a reporter at one point, and he was society page editor. He worked for the Dispatch for 17 years. He was also named by Theodore Roosevelt, the president at the time, in 1907 rather, auditor of the Navy Department. So, all right, this man, my great-grandfather, who inspired him? Who inspired him? I mean, where does it all come from? It comes from us giving to each other, talking to each other, setting examples, and being willing to share. His writings during the last few months of the war in France, again, 58 years old, and he's with the 92nd and 93rd Divisions of colored soldiers the people in command were white, but the thousands were black, the soldiers. So, important here that smaller black newspapers were not hearing about how black people were doing fighting for their country. White newspapers weren't hearing it either. So this, my great-grandfather, the first one there, he's reporting what's happening to him. In a book called The American Negro in the World War by E.J. Scott, 1919 it was published. Here is my great-grandfather. This is from an article he wrote. I was at the front when the drive began, this last battle of the World War. I was thrilled and inspired by the enthusiasm of our men and their eagerness to get into battle. The thundering of the big guns, the terrific explosions of shells opening up served only to inspire our colored soldiers with a grim determination to maintain the race's traditional fighting reputation. As I retraced my steps over the battlefield, the awful field of carnage, and saw the havoc German shells had wrought, saw lifeless, blood-bespattered bodies of colored soldiers lying in the dark and bloody fields, saw the maimed and mangled living, the natural feeling of sorrow, of anguish, of pain, was made endurable only by the thought that our men, our colored soldiers, were in it to the end. That they fought like heroes, died like martyrs. And then there was the radiant hope. Perhaps they fought and fell in the last battle of the greatest war ever waged for civilization, not in vain. There is so much that he wrote on not only the reporting, but then afterwards, his work with the National Negro Business League as a businessman back in Columbus. All these letters I read from him, between him and then Senator Warren G. Harding about how to get more people in political office who are of color. And it just on, and I'm honestly just so proud of him. And of course, wouldn't you know, nearly, a century later, I end up working at Channel 10, which is owned by the same family that owned the Dispatch, who was my great-grandfather's employers. I mean, what are the chances of that? Channel 10 was a great part in my life. I am so proud to have been there. And I'm very, very proud of having that opportunity to report in your hometown, which is not as easy as you might think, because when you mess up, everybody sees it. And so that was not something that I took lightly. And my boss at the time would say, can you stop talking with your hands every word you say something, and can you please stop making your eyes so big? I don't know if they'd get away with saying something like that these days, but it did make me calm down a little bit. And I took it so very, very seriously, wanting to make my parents proud. My grandmother was alive at the time from here, and people would say to me, Doc Tyler, is your dad Doc Tyler, the pharmacist? He was not a doctor, but just the pride of my family. I wanted to do well by it. In the Columbus, when I first started at WCBS, so I was 9 years at Channel 10, 34 years in New York, and Kathy mentioned that Reggie Harris and I were the first African-American anchor team in New York City, the second in the country. And when you're sitting there in this big city, New York, it's just, what is it? It's this mythical place, zillions of people living on concrete. We took it so very seriously. We took it as not only serious journalists, but also as mentors, as examples we wanted to be and were for younger people. And of course, to deliver to our audience. Doesn't matter what color we are. Doesn't matter what color we are. We wanted to do well. We wanted to be trusting, warm, and calming, and most of all, be ourselves. I wish Dr. King, I wish my dad, I wish a lot of people could have seen that. I want to leave you with a couple of things, and that is, I know it's Inauguration Day, and lots of mixed feelings, everything euphoria, depression, despair, excitement, optimism, pessimism, apathy, but we got to come to hope. Hope, hope, hope. We can all have hope. And so I really hope that we hold on to hope. And think of Dr. King. And also, I think it's appropriate with you all here to say, I also checked the website of the Columbus Metropolitan Library to confirm that in 1896, all right, 1896, one of my great-grandfather's brothers, named Julius Tyler, was the first Black to score a touchdown for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So OH, that's right. We wish us Buckeyes great luck tonight. Thank you so much for having me here. You have no idea what an honor it is. And I will also say thank you for, you can tell I was a little nervous. It's so much easier to talk to a gazillion people through a TV camera than it is real people in real life. And so I appreciate everything and I feel your warmth. And thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Carrie Horton. I'm the Associate Director of Capriccio Columbus. It's been my honor this year, for the first time, Larry's always done this, my honor this year to be part of the planning committee and seeing all these, meeting and seeing how these wonderful people put together an amazing, beautiful celebration here in Worthington. We've been a part of it for 14 years, but now to see who's working on it for months, getting this ready for you, was really my honor. We'd like to sing two pieces for you now. One is called Your Hand and Mine by Marcus Garrett. And the second piece is I just lost my words. Thank you. Soon we will be done. You will recognize part of it, but it's also a really brand new arrangement, I think, is a really special piece, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. Thank you.
Done with the hatred and done with war. Come lift the lonely, come lift up the poor. Done with the hatred and done with war. Come lift the lonely, come lift up the poor. Done with the hatred and done with war. Come lift the lonely, come lift up the poor. Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world when heaven comes to earth. Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. Oh, soon we will be done with the troubles of the world when heaven comes to earth. No more weeping and the wailing, no more weeping and the wailing, no more weeping and the wailing when heaven comes to earth. No more weeping and the wailing, no more weeping and the wailing, no more weeping and the wailing, heaven comes to earth. Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. We will be done with the troubles of the world when heaven comes to earth. Soon we will be done. 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 Soon we will be
Done with the racism and sexism and all the isms and prisms that bind us, that blind us from the hurt of another. I want to be done with addiction, with any affliction that takes a hold and won't let go and speaks in lies and fiction. Yeah, I want to be done with the things that divide us instead of unite us. Like the walls hate instilled, we fill with judgment inside us. I want to be done. Violence and the silence when facing injustice. But I wonder if you trust us, if love was our compass.
Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. Oh, soon we will be done with the troubles of the world when heaven comes to earth. Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. Oh, soon we will be done with the troubles of the world. Heaven comes to soon we will be done with the weeping and the wailing. No more weeping and the wailing. No more weeping and the wailing. No more weeping and the wailing. Soon we will be done with the troubles of the world. Come lift the lonely, come lift up the world. Done with the hatred and done with war. Come lift the lonely, come lift up the poor.
When we come together, when we stand up for each other, we will offer these hands and feet and be love, compassion, and grace come heaven to earth. Oh, thy will be done.
Good morning or good afternoon, just a few minutes afternoon. This has been so wonderful. I'm Shauna LaRue Marai, and I'm the current chair of the Community Relations Commission, or possibly folks might remember formerly the Human Relations Commission in the 1970s. So we work to promote greater understanding, mutual respect, and also, and given Dana's story today, we also worked in partnership with others for the Undesigned the Red Line exhibit that was at the Worthington Libraries. So we do a lot of things in collaboration with so many here. And I feel so lucky to be here in this community that cares so much about creating meaningful events such as this one in celebration of Dr. King's life. We worked with a number of partners, and I just want to mention a few that were a part of the committee and thank them for their time and all their great support. First, the Worthington Alliance of Black Families and Educators, the space that Keisha and others and the leadership that they provide for families in our community across our school district is very meaningful, including for my own family. Also like to thank the Worthington Libraries. Desi worked with us, bringing a lot of thoughtful ideas, marketing, and leadership to our planning committee. And then of course, Worthington Schools. Ms. Toya, that video was inspiring, showcasing our junior leaders in our community. Those students, I hope you walk out with your heads held high, because I can't wait to see you in the future and where you go. We would also, of course, like to make sure that we thank the Methodist Church here, this beautiful space, Capriccio Columbus and Urban Strings, filling our census with absolutely beautiful music. And then I'd also like to recognize those that are serving on City Council in Worthington, as well as the Worthington School District. Please stand. We would love to recognize you for your service to this community. There's so much great work that you're doing. And there are so many of you here today. Thank you so much. And then to our speakers, Keisha Gunn at the Worthington Alliance of Black Families and Educators for that wonderful closing and reminding us about hope and also mission possible indeed. Reverend Dr. Ruth McCants Locke, as well from the St. John's African American Episcopal Church, for hope that resonated throughout all the presentations today, and that we all need to reflect love as part of Dr. King's legacy. And then finally, I'd also like to recognize Kathy Starks, who introduced her dear friend, Dana Tyler. Kathy is an unsung hero, or Shiro, in our community, working so hard with the students, and really, I've been so inspired by her. And Dana, thank you so much for coming home. Sharing your life, your family stories, and legacy with us today was certainly inspiring to me, and I know to my son who's here in the audience. I have the most profound respect for journalists. They are the first writers of history, and really want to make sure that you know how much we revere education, knowledge here in Worthington. So really thank you so much for being here today. There are folks who are virtual, so really appreciate that you're here virtually. If you're here in the audience, there is a QR code on the back of your program. We would love your feedback. It always helps the planning committee in the future. And then there are hard copies, because I know some of you prefer that, outside the doors. And we want you to please, if you're in person, continue the celebration downstairs. There are refreshments, there's coffee, water, some biscuits I've heard, some cookies. All of those are downstairs for you. And I just want to thank you all for being such a wonderful part of the Worthington community, and thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.